Hey everybody, Brian here. In this video I want to show you this car here. This is a 2019 Honda HRV. This one is an executive and it's also automatic. This would have been an expensive, probably this was the most expensive version of the Honda HRV when it was out brand new in 2019, so they were pretty seldom at the time. Now, this particular example then is a one owner car from new. We have acquired the car as it's now been disposed of by the previous owner's estate, so it is a one owner car, as I was saying, with a full service history. So a really nice man bought this off us back in 2019, the middle of 2019, maybe July of 2019, and he liked his cars. His son likes his cars as well, and he did a nice job looking after the vehicle. The colour on the outside maybe depends on what way the sun is. Probably today it does look more like a blue, and it's a super dark blue colour, and even sometimes just at a glance it mightn't come across as blue, but it just looks like almost a kind of a light black. But sunny day like today, you can start to see the blue colour come up. So a couple of things I want to show you on this car is going to be around the outside. The features are on the outside, the features are on the inside. We'll go for a quick drive in the car, so by the end of the video you'll have a better idea of what these cars are about. If you're on YouTube and you want information that I've missed, let me know in the comment section, or if you're in Ireland and you're thinking about buying a car like this, 086 843 1945. So first thing I like on these cars, there's big daytime running lights down along through here, but these are also LED. In 2019, when these cars were new, you had to go for the executive if you wanted the LED lighting for indicators, for full and dip lights. In 2020 and 21 it started coming into the middle specs. However, this is the only model that ever came with LED front fog lights as well. This one was also one of the first ones that started coming in with the diamond cut wheels. So they had a similar kind of wheel in 2019. And actually, when this man bought the car, the wheel was completely silver. But some people had remarked that they preferred a diamond cut, and the manufacturer, in fairness, listened and they made the wheel diamond cut. So that means you had a big black section there, but this kind of, now it's shiny all the way around, but this is more of a kind of diamond cut polished effect. So it looks really cool at night time under artificial light, or when they're turning during the day on a sunny day like that. You can see a nice glistening effect from it. The front of these cars then had this solid, so there was a name, and I think it was like Solid Wing Face, something like that. It became a kind of almost a Honda brand identity thing in the front of the car. So the big chrome grille at the front. One point of note on these, if you're in Ireland and you're looking at a car, if it has the black dark grille, 99% of the time that means the car was made in Mexico. However, if the car has the chrome grille on the front from 2019 onwards, that means the car was produced like this one, made in Japan. I think they're a nice looking car at the front, but the real thing for me was the big LED lights on the front of the car. They made a big difference, made it look a bit more upmarket. What's also nice on these executives was that you got LED lights on the rear, which was pretty seldom. So you'll always know the rear of an executive because it was the only model that came with LED lighting on the rear of the car along here. So you'll see these LEDs along through here. While these aren't an LED, they have these kind of strips along here, so it gives a kind of almost effect of an LED, and these are more tinted than some of the lower spec models. Again, on these Japanese produced ones in 2019 onwards, you got a small bit of chrome along the boot lid. I always like the exhaust down there. It was a little bit of a sporty look to it, and actually there's a little bit of a sound even off it as well. And these cars then as an executive also had the roof rails up high, which were nice brushed aluminium finish, and that means you could put roof bars from one side to the other as well, and they look quite smart. There's sun protection glass on the rear of the car. Well, that's a lie. Sun protection glass all around for UV rays, but this is dark tint on the rear windows from the factory as well. While we're around at the back, let's have a look at the boot. So this car has keyless entry, so that means basically I can leave this in my pocket, I can walk up to the car, it recognises that the keys are on me. The boot's in nice condition, and then down through here you can put a spare wheel if you want, or you've got a super large load area. Now, in terms of flexibility, one of the key attributes on these cars was a massive level of flexibility on the rear. So leather interior, I'm going to go through that with you better in a sec. Leather along here, there was a speaker here with nice chrome surround, door handle with again chrome finish on the door handle and the surround, leather coated armrest, leather seating. There is an armrest in through the center. There is 3 head restraints, but I'll get onto the cool bit in a minute. If you sit in one of these cars, you can recline the seat backwards if you want. It looks like a small bit, but it makes a difference when you're sitting in the car, and it makes it easier to make some use of the headrest. So what was super awesome on these cars was the magic seat. So the magic seat meant you drop down the headrest, let the seat forward, and it goes totally flat, so you get this massive load area in the rear of the car. And again, if you take out the parcel shelf, and actually one thing on 2019, these parcel shelves became hard whereas 16, 17, 18 they were a soft flexible finish, so a lot of people like the hard one. Nice LED style light up through there, but yeah, you had this massive load area once you took that out, and literally all it was is a one-handed job where you're literally just lifting that upwards and dropping it down. But that's still not the super cool part. The super cool part on these was where you could lift the seats upwards on both sides, and then that gave you a slightly different adaptation to the load area. Again, if you had something really tall that you wanted to put in here and still have a full amount of boot space. Down, it's pretty straightforward. Okay, in terms of sitting in the back, so if I was to sit behind myself, I think this would be a reasonable driving position to take in the car. So if I sat behind myself, so that's a 6 foot person driving a car, I could even slouch a bit. Legroom is weird on these. These aren't in the massive SUV, they are in the more medium-sized SUV segment. But the legroom is just awesome on them. Really, really good. They are a little bit narrower, so I'd say to you, if you had 5 passengers in the car a lot, then maybe there is other wider cars that might be more suitable. But these can comfortably take 5 people with 3 oh my god, seat belts across the rear. But the legroom is awesome. So there's wider cars that would have way less legroom than these. The other thing as well is on both sides then you will have ISOFIX points. The man that owned this car, his children were grown up, so the back seats really got very, very little use. There is a drinks holder down there, and there's also a 12 volt outlet there. Kangaroo pockets again in through there. In the front of the car then, you again have a similar kind of setup here for electrics, for windows and mirrors. Actually, one thing with these cars, so like we're saying, you've got keyless go and stuff like that. So the key, that will actually have its own key built in that is sitting in there if the car ever goes dead. But once you lock the car, the lights will turn off after about 30 seconds. And similarly then, if they're left on, they'll come back on whenever you unlock the car. You can also use the door locking mechanism to let the windows up and down, and even the sunroof works in the same fashion. But what I wanted to show you was, you leave that in your pocket. To get into the car, you lock using that button. If you want to retract the wing mirrors, you lock it a second time and hold your finger on it. And to get in and out of the car, all you do is, that's it, just put your hand in there and open, and then start the car. It's got push button over here. So what we have an economy function which reduces how aggressive the cruise control and the air conditioner is and all that kind of stuff. Parking sensors front and rear, and that goes with an existing reverse camera that's already in through there with different modes and dynamic guidelines depending what direction you're moving. There is drinks holders and some storage. There is 2 USB connectors in through here with HDMI if you want to play video. There's different temperatures on each side of the car, but because it's an executive, it also gets heated front seats. And these seats then again are a nice black leather interior, and they're nice condition. You know, sometimes the bolsters wear on leather interiors, but this one's well looked after, and the seats are quite supportive. Like a lot of leather seats in Hondas, there's good peripheral support on that particular model of seat, so it's quite comfortable to sit in. Gearbox, park, reverse, neutral, drive, and then there's also a sport mode, which basically increases the engine revolutions, and the car is a bit more primed for immediate power, which is useful for overtaking. In through here, you'll have a CD player, believe it or not. There is still 1 or 2 people out there that will get use out of having a CD player because they have tons of CDs. Touch and swipe. Navigation is going to be standard, streaming music via Bluetooth and taking calls and all that kind of stuff. Cruise control. In through here, it'll tell you things like, flat tires, how much mileage is on the car, how much fuel is left in it, and other things. Then you have a speed limiter, which means you can actually set the speed limiter and it will respect speed signs. When it sees a speed sign, it'll actually slow you down if you're not corresponding to the speed sign, or if you want, you can just have it as a cruise control to maintain the speed. Wipers are automated, lights are automated. One really nice thing on an executive is you have a big panoramic sunroof, so you can let it back, or if you want, you can actually let it upwards, so it basically tilts upwards. And similarly then, the blind has an independent setup, so you can let it halfway. Well, like, you can stop it anywhere you want. So if you don't want the sun coming in on top of you, you can close it. But why have something like that in the car without having it open, in my opinion? These are quite a safe car, so you'll have driver and passenger airbags, you'll have side impact protection, you'll have curtain, you'll have side impact protection beams. There's a Honda sensing setup, so it tries to predict if you're under 30 kilometers an hour and you don't touch the brake pedal and you're about to hit something, it'll try and stop you early. So there's lots of safety on the car. Anyway, let's go for a drive. So driving the car, there's a nice elevated driving position because it is an SUV, so it feels high off the ground, and visibility is quite nice all around. Like we said, automatic. If I go back into S, it raises the engine revolutions, so less economical but more primed for overtaking. This car is a 1.5 normally aspirated 130 horsepower engine. You have the paddle, so I can go up the gears or I can go down the gears. I don't have to, but if I want to be more engaged in my driving, I can use them, and I can use them in the D mode or the S mode. So it is an SUV, it's good elevation driving, but it's not an overly big car in terms of, let's do a 3-point turn. So 3-point turn along here, good visibility looking left and right, and then I have the camera as well, which helps me. Now this car, because it has the sunroof, it's a lovely bright interior, but I suppose automatic's real nice. You end up getting into a habit of automatic, and the vast majority of people you talk to, once they get used to an automatic car, it's really seldom that they'll ever go for a manual vehicle again. In terms of how this one drives, it drives really well. It's a nice one owner car with a full service history. It's got an NCT done until 25. All the steering controls, everything feels good. It's nice to drive. So anyway, there you have it. It drives really well. Ironically, this is the showroom it was in, brand new, back in 2019. So back in the showroom again. This is, like we're saying, HRV Executive Automatic. If there's any information you want on this car, 086 843 1945. Brian's my name. Call, text, WhatsApp if you want information about trading your car or financing or whatever you want to know about the car. Anyway, hopefully the video's been useful. Hopefully you like the car, and thanks for watching.